Are you ready to see a 100% completion of Resident Evil 1 HD Remastered? Yeah? Cool, then let's get into it. So a couple of notes here for the 100%. You're gonna need to do at least 4 playthroughs. Both Chris and Joe need to be done twice because you need to save everyone and not save anyone. So there you go. And total time, you're looking at about 24 to 36 hours, I'd say. And difficulty-wise, it's fairly difficult, so we gave it a 7 out of 10, but it's manageable. With that said, let's get into it. So I began a new game on normal. We started with Chris because Chris is a good boy, and we entered that survival horror. We quickly came up against our first zombie, grabbing ourselves the achievement to kill a zombie. Pretty simple, right? We put him down quite quickly, but he wasn't quite dead. He had a quick tickle off them toes. Chris said, "Nah, not today," stamped on his head, and then boom, achievement time. We then progressed the story a little bit. We got the armor key, which then woke up the Crimson Heads. We got a tasty little crit on the first one, netting us the achievement to kill a Crimson Head. And then followed by the third achievement to burn a zombie. It was a Crimson Head, but still counts. And now that we have the armor key, we were able to go see our friend Richard. And turns out he was bitten by a big snaky boy and he needs some serum. So for this achievement, you got to run back to the west side save point room to get the serum. And then take it back to Richard. You gotta do this in about 5 minutes, otherwise he pops his clogs and, you know, you can't save him anymore. Our next achievement consists of some revenge for Richard as we face the big snaky boy. We gave him a taste of the shotgun, but he does get a cheeky chomp in, but eventually runs away, giving us the achievement for surviving the first encounter with Yon. His name's Yon, by the way. Getting bitten was a bit of a pain as it meant going back to the serum room to get some serum for Chris. But it did work out because we actually got the achievement for saving Chris as Rebecca, which is always nice. We then progressed by completing some puzzles and collecting the 3 remaining masks that are needed for the tomb out in the backyard. Once we had those placed on the statues, the Crimson Head boy woke up, we put him down no problem and collected the stone and metal object, giving us our next achievement. Now that we had the stone and metal object, it meant that we can continue onward into the residence area where we came face to face with some big sharky boys. During the encounter with the sharks, I did not realize what the music meant, and this big old boy came up and snatched me up, resulting in our first death, which also resulted in an achievement, so I'll take it. There's worse ways to get that one, I suppose. We then sorted some stuff out in the control room to drain the aqua ring, leaving Mother Neptune relaxing in a small body of water. We then chucked a powered console into the mix for good measure, giving her a good bit of shock therapy, which then grabbed us our next achievement to defeat Mother Neptune. As we got the gallery key from that encounter, we made our way back up, did a couple of puzzles and came up against Plant 42. We put him down pretty quickly, but not before he drizzled on us and slapped us off the balcony, but he went down and our achievement popped. And then we got the helmet key, which is very nice. And so it was back to the mansion with our new key. On arrival, we were introduced to the dreaded hunters. We put the first one down with a bit of a fight, unlocking the Who's the Hunter Now achievement. We then put the helmet key to use, unlocking some doors, collecting some key items to progress the story. And then we bumped into Yon again. He's back for round 2. He's salty about the first round. So he comes back, we fight him, we just basically lead him around the bookshelf, shoot him, lead him around the bookshelf, shoot him, easy stuff. He does get a cheeky chomp in, but eventually he goes down, bumps into that bookshelf and drops off this book. Pick that up, and then we got ourselves our next achievement, which is the written word is dead. With all the key items collected, we got ourselves the emblem key, opened up the Spencer room, and as we stepped inside, we heard a scream from upstairs. Rebecca's in trouble. We gotta go save her because we want that achievement to save everyone at the end of the game. So we head up. Hunter's there. He wants a piece of Rebecca. We put him down. He's a little bit sporadic, but that's okay. He goes down. We save Rebecca, and we actually get a cheeky achievement for saving Rebecca from a hunter. Wasn't expecting that one. Once Rebecca was saved, we headed out to the courtyard. We put the battery into the elevator so that we can access this hidden cavern. So we headed down there, did a couple of bits and pieces, progressed the story, you know how it is. And then we found ourselves up against the Black Tiger, big old spider boy. He comes down the wall, he's a big old boy. He starts to fight with a taunt. And he hits us with the big tackle, sends us flying on the floor. Bad times for me, we're on caution. We run around him a little bit, and then he hits us again with yet another tackle and puts us down. That's pretty sad times, but we gotta go back for round 2, right? So we're back for round 2. We start running around him, giving him the ring around the roses. He said, nah mate, sends me flying. Does a taunt, because he's a scrub by the way. And then finally, we do hit him with the killing blow. We explode that spider, but spider's on the ceiling. We say, get down from there. We got an achievement, so we didn't want you in the way. Put him down, get rid of him. He does vomit on me a little bit. And then we see some spider boys on the floor, little spiderlings. So we just step on those real quick. We then made it to the end of the caverns and ran into Lisa. She's a good looking gal. We end up trapped in the corner by Lisa. We try to run past her. She gives us a cheeky donk round the back of the head. And then after a quick puzzle, we found our way to her cozy little setup, a little den, where we found this stone ring item, which combines with the metal object to create the stone and metal object. So now we've got 2, which means we can open the gate underneath the stairs in the main hall of the mansion. We get to the end of the path and we find Wesker fighting Lisa. He's calling her a mess up. Pretty harsh words if you ask me, but we try to get involved. We start pushing some stone pillar things off the edge. We get to the last one and Lisa sneaks up behind us, gives us a good old donk and sends us off the edge. So be careful about that. She can one-hit kill you if you're too close to the edge. But we head back, we get the last one and expose that coffin. She finds her mum's skull, picks that up, and then she's like, you know what? I'm going to yeet myself off the edge. Up to you. Whatever, she's gone, she's dealt with, and we got the achievement. Good stuff, right? So for the next achievement, we continued onward and found this secret laboratory underneath the fountain. So for this one, you need to get all the MO discs. So there's one in the mansion with the yellow gem and the lion statue. The remaining 2 MO discs can be found inside the laboratory, so pretty easy stuff. And then you gotta find all the terminals, which are dotted around the laboratory. They're not too hard to find, just be careful about the bug boys. I forgot about the bug boys and they scared the crap out of me, but don't worry about that. So hit all the terminals, use the MO discs. That will release all the locks. You can head downstairs, go see Jill. Door's locked, can't get her out. Sad times, right? But no worries, we'll just come back later.
Okay.
So our next step was to restore power. We had to grab the fuel capsule. It's empty, so we took it to the refueling station, refueled that, got the warning not to run, so we had to take a nice leisurely stroll. Pretty good, right? And then we put that in, restored the power, and then we headed over to restore the power to the elevator. Did that, got to the elevator, turned that on, went upstairs, and guess what? We then ran into Wesker, who proceeded to call us Little Piggy. Seems a little bit unnecessary, and then he shot Rebecca. Sad times, right? And then he releases Tyrant, and we are completely unprepared for this. We have no ammo, we have no heals, we have nothing. Just 1 bullet and a dream. We give him a good cheeky shot, and then we stand there and get pieced up by him with a tasty little combo. But then we went back. We had the Magnum in hand, no worries. Gave him a good old bap, 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 bap. Easy stuff, he goes down. We then go check on Rebecca. Turns out she's wearing a bulletproof vest, so that's good. That's good plot armor for you right there. And then we head off. She activates the self-destruct, and with that, all the doors are unlocked, so now we can go and find Jill, open up the door and get her out of the prison, and then we can all run for freedom with the achievement right in our pocket. We all met up next to the escape elevator to get to the heliport to get picked up by Brad. Once we're up there, Tyrant pops up again, and he's like, nah mate, it's time for round 2, you ain't going nowhere. So he slaps up Jill, puts her out of commission, and it's just Rebecca and me to deal with this big boy. But he turns around and just charges me down and sends me flying. He slaps us up a bit more, but eventually we get him down low enough that Brad throws us a rocket launcher. We pick that up, line it up, send it towards him, detonate that boy, and we're done. And then Brad comes in with the achievement, the nightmare ends. Finish the game saving Rebecca and Jill using Chris. As easy as that. That's also followed by the achievements to complete it on very easy, normal mode, and completing the game with Chris. It's a big old achievement drop, 5 achievements all in one. Very nice stuff. But that is it. That's the first playthrough done. Normal mode, Chris. Completing this one also gave us access to real survival mode and a cheeky little costume. So we began the second playthrough once again on hard mode with Jill. So we began the game running about, grabbing the arrow, grabbing the mansion key, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then we got to the shotgun room, picked that up, activated the trap. But with Jill, you get the free shotgun because it activates a little cutscene where Barry comes along and saves you and calls you a Jill sandwich or something.
You would have fit nicely into a sandwich.
I don't know what that's all about. But he says that, and then we get the achievement, which is very nice. We saved Jill using Barry, but we weren't actually using Barry. We just had a cutscene with him. But, you know, it's okay. We got the achievement. That's all that matters, right? And then we saved Richard again, we got the serum, all that kind of stuff, you know how it is. But then when we fought Yawn, Richard shows up with a shotgun, so it's a 2 against 1 situation. We put Yawn down pretty quickly. I thought we killed Yawn, I was like, what's going on here? Turns out he was playing dead, snuck up, went to go take a tasty bite out of Jill. Richard comes along, pushes us out the way, he gets chomped down, he gets swallowed whole. Very sad times for him. But then we put Yawn down. He runs away like last time. We grab the mask and it's time to head down into the tomb, activate the Crimson Head, put him down. Then it's achievement time for killing Prototype 1 Crimson Head. And then it's back to the residential area. We dealt with some spiders, headed down to the Aqua Ring, gave Mother Nature a little shock therapy again. Cheeky fucking, how you going? And then it was up to Plant 42, but this time instead of fighting Plant 42, we made Fijo. I didn't know the code for the keypad, so I just mashed some buttons and I actually got incredibly lucky. But just so you know, it's 356 are the numbers. They're a random order every time. I believe the way you find the code is the pool balls on the pool table in the room with the spiders, if you wanted to do it properly. But yeah, once in there, we synthesized Fijo, headed downstairs, applied it to the roots, then headed back up to Plant 42. We got up there. He was shriveling up, but he came back to life, grabbed Jill. Barry came in with a flamethrower. I don't know where he got that from. He gets grabbed, and then he just starts screaming and sending flame everywhere. The plant goes down, and we're all good. We pick up the helmet key, and then we get the next achievement for finding the mansion key, or the helmet key, whatever the achievement says.
It still bothers me.
And then it was time for June to come back and fight Jill for round 2. Pretty easy. We started giving him the ring around the rosies with the bookcase. Pretty simple stuff. And eventually he goes down. And the giant snake's got nothing. That's the achievement name. We got that achievement, which is pretty nice. And then it was back down into the caverns to get the stone ring and all that kind of stuff. We fought Black Tiger too. We put him down. But sadly, no achievement for Jill. Jill doesn't get any recognition for killing Black Tiger. Sad times, right? And as we get to the end of the cavern, Barry shows up, so he comes down the elevator with us to the whole Lisa section. He sends us to check it out. We come back and he just dips. He goes up the elevator and leaves us down there stranded. So we finish up in the cavern, we grab the stone ring, combine that with the metal object, head back to the mansion, put those 2 stone and metal objects into the gate, head through there, get to the end to the Lisa fight, and we find Barry there. He's pretty surprised that we're still alive.
You're alive.
So surprised he pulled a gun on us, tried to take us out. Jill disarms him one-handed with the greatest of ease. And then somehow Lisa shows up. She's pretty pissed, starts destroying some statues and all that kind of jazz. And then it's time to make a decision. I don't really want to save him, but I also want the achievement, so we're going to save him for this one. But after this, your days are numbered, Barry. And then with Barry's help, we take care of Lisa, push off these stone pillar things. She jumps off, you know, she's gone, all done and dusted. No achievement for Jill, but we do get the achievement for breaking into the laboratory using Jill, so that's always nice. And then we made our way through the laboratory, same as last time, did the ammo disc, went down, checked on Chris. Chris was there, door was locked. We grabbed the fuel canister, refilled that, put that in. Restored power to the elevator, headed upstairs, completed the cutscene. Tyrant didn't kill Wesker this time around, he just knocked him out. We then took care of Tyrant, no problem, flame rounds, easy stuff. I did get clipped once or twice, but don't worry about that. And then we checked on Barry. Wesker was gone. He activates the self-destruct. We start making a run for it. We drop down, grab Chris, get him out of the prison cell, got ourselves a cheeky achievement for saving Chris, and then headed upstairs to the heliport. And guess what? Tyrant V2, right? He jumps up. Time for round 2. And the same as last time, I got slapped up a little bit. He hits me once, he hits me twice, and he hits me with the taunt. What a scrub. What is it with these Resident Evil bosses and their scrubby ways? But eventually we get the rocket launcher, we send the rocket towards him. He parries that like an absolute champion, but we send another one his way. He explodes. Easy stuff. And then Brad arrives, giving us our achievement. I'm a member of STARS, which is to save Chris and Barry using Jill. Very good stuff. And we did a pretty good job. 5 hours and 7 minutes. Almost got the speedrun achievement on our second playthrough. Not bad stuff, but we got the hard mode achievement, which is good. Followed by the we're in this together, which is to complete the game with both Jill and Chris, which is nice. And then we got the last achievement, which was to finish the game with Jill. So 4 achievements, not as big as the first playthrough, but still a pretty good achievement dump. We also got ourselves a new costume, which is always good, goes towards that achievement. And apparently someone's given zombies grenades, so I don't know what that's all about, but But keep watching and you'll find out, because I'll tell you one thing, it's bad times for me. I'll tell you that much. And it's once again for the third playthrough on real survival mode. We decided to go again with Jill and not save anyone. The main reason for choosing Jill on this one is because real survival, the storage boxes aren't linked. So as she's got more spaces, it's going to make life a whole lot easier. We made our way through the game like we always do, collecting the mansion key, and then we faced our first death against a normal zombie. I think these guys, real survival mode, I think they're hitting a lot harder because he put me down pretty easily. And then we died again to the same zombie. Fantastic stuff. He puked on us twice and then did a 180 nibble. Pretty good stuff. Add that to the montage clip. But we finally got him. We were victorious in the end, and then it was onward to deal with the dogs with the whistle, which was fairly difficult considering that real survival mode there's no auto aim, so you have to aim yourself, and with the way that these dogs move, it's pretty difficult. It's pretty awkward. But we took them out and we got the armor key, which meant that we can go around and collect all the mask pieces for the tomb downstairs. And as I wasn't saving anyone, I figured the best thing to do was to activate Richard first. So that 5-minute timer starts, go get all the other mask pieces, and then by the time you get back, he's normally dead, and then you can kind of get into the whole yawn area. So yeah, Richard popped his clogs, no worries about that, sad times, but don't worry about it. We then headed into the yawn room, but instead of fighting him this time, we decided just to run around, grab the mask, and get out of there. Turns out you don't actually have to fight him, you can literally grab it and go. And then we quickly made our way through the game, so we killed the Crimson Head, we gave Mother Neptune a bit of shock therapy, we used Fijo on Plant 42, grabbed the mansion key, the helmet key, and then fought Yawn again, part 2, round 2, let's go. We gave him a ring around the rosies, but this time he was a bit smart about it and didn't fall for the good old trick. Sup. But that didn't help because we still put him down and grabbed that book, so, you know, sit down. And then there was Black Tiger time. We tried to skip him and he came along and started sidestepping, freaked me out a little bit, and then he just kind of knocked me out, but that's okay. We went back to the door, continued to knife it. He spat at me, but turns out that actually helped me unlock the door a bit quicker. We cut that last strand and then we got ourselves out of there. And then we continue through the caverns like always. Dealt with Lisa, grabbed the stone ring, combined that with the metal object, put that in the gate, and then we found Barry downstairs. And guess what, Barry? You're not getting your gun back this time, boy. Turns out if you don't do it, Joe gets slapped by Lisa. Barry's worried. He reaches for his gun and Lisa just gives him the good old dunk. And he flies off the edge. See you later, Barry. Good stuff. And then we had to do it with Lisa solo style, so we didn't have the help of someone shooting her and stunning her, but we managed it. No worries. Easy stuff. And then we headed down to the laboratory, but this time it's a lot easier. No ammo disc to deal with, so it's just a case of getting the laboratory key, getting the fuel canister, refueling, putting that in, restoring power, activating the elevator, heading up, going to go see Tyrant, giving him a good old whack in, how you going? And then after a few rounds he goes down. Easy stuff. We grabbed the laboratory key this time because the self-destruct isn't going to be activated, so the key is for the elevator at the top, and it's also for the prison side to get Chris if you wanted to. And then we got to the heliport. We activated the signal rockets for Brad, expecting V2 Tyrant to show up, but turns out if you don't save everyone, then he doesn't show up, so there's no second boss fight. So that's good to take note of if you're doing speed runs and all that kind of stuff on those save runs, or, you know, knife only ones. And then Brad shows up. We get the achievement for not saving anyone, which is every woman for herself, followed by 2 achievements. So we got the survival horror for completing the game on real survival mode. Only 70.72% people have that on Xbox. Very good. And then we got the playtime of 3 hours 21 minutes, letting us to finish the game in 5 hours achievement, which I'm pretty happy about. Real survival mode almost got the 3-hour speedrun achievement. Would have been good, but that also nets us another costume and Barry's Samurai Edge pistol, which is very nice. So we began our 4th playthrough on invisible enemy mode. Very excited for this one, and I was a little bit cheeky and went hard mode because you know, why not, right? But then we chose to go with Jill again because of the 8 slots, and also we got that new costume, so why not try it out, huh? So then we began making our way through the game. Obviously enemies are invisible and all that kind of jazz, but if you check out the mirrors and reflections, you can actually see them. So, you know, that's a bit of a strat for you. It's not 100% perfect though, because it's kind of hard to see how close they really are, so you know, be careful about that. This mode was pretty challenging though, because, you know, even though you remember where they are, you don't know if they're lunging, you don't know if they've moved. It's hard to keep track of the boys. But yeah, I took a few nibbles to begin with while I was getting used to the fact that I couldn't see enemies. And a few deaths by the same guy that got me on the real survival mode. He really hates me. He keeps getting me, but don't worry about it. We got used to it. We found out that using defensive daggers was super useful because they stay in the head and you can see where they are. So, you know, make use of those. And then we got the armor key by dealing with the dogs. Turns out you can actually see the dogs dribble, so that makes it a lot easier to see them and track them. And then it was time for the yawn fight. I decided not to skip him, and I decided to do all the bosses on invisible enemy mode and not skip anyone, just for the challenge, just for the fun of it. So we fought yawn, we took a bit of damage here, but as you can see in the clip, you can see him kind of like slithering along, and you can also see his venom dribbling, so you know, it's not too bad. You can keep track of him pretty well. And same with the Crimson Head, you can see his cold breath in the air, so you can keep track of him, but he's a quick moving fool, so it's kind of hard. I did sadly get killed by the Crimson Head, but we went back and pieced him up. He got stun locked, so you know, that was good for me. I'm happy about that. And then it was off to the residential area where the sharks were bubbly boys, so you can keep track of the sharks with the bubbles, easy stuff, right? We then dealt with Mother Neptune, gave her a shark, made feed jar, applied it to the invisible roots, headed upstairs, went to plant 42, Barry flamed it up, grabbed the key, and then back to the mansion it was. Now this was one part of the game that I was really nervous about on invisible enemies, was the hunters, because even though you can see a bit of dribble, it's hard to see, and you never know if they're charging up that attack that's going to kill you in one hit, which unfortunately happens right here. But we did end up surviving against the hunters and made our way to the yawn room for round 2. He comes in, activates his active camouflage, very nice. So you need to be careful with this fight because it's hard to keep track of yawn, because when he lays down he can sneak up on you because you can't see that dribble. So the ring around the Versi strat just really didn't work out because I kept losing track of where he actually was, so we got caught a couple of times, but we did manage to put him down, so it's pretty good stuff, don't worry about it. And then it was off to the caverns to deal with Black Tiger. I was a little bit concerned because I thought this fight was going to be pretty difficult because you can't see him at all, but I put him down pretty easily, to be fair. I don't know if I got lucky or what, but yeah, put him down, he's down, easy stuff. Alright, moving on. Moving on, we grabbed the stone ring to put with the metal object to create the second stone and metal object, used them on the gates, went downstairs, found Barry, gave him back his gun so we can fight Tyrant V2. So I thought it would be funny to fight Tyrant V2 if he's invisible. Might be a mistake, but we did it. Also kind of glad that I did, because I kind of low-key forgot that Lisa would be invisible, so Barry actually helped me out a whole bunch, stunning her at some key moments. Once Lisa was dealt with, it was time to go back down to the laboratory, so we did the usual stuff, you know, save Chris, turn the elevator on and all that kind of jazz, went upstairs. Obviously he's invisible, so the first attempt he did get me pretty good. I won't lie, good stuff, Tyrant. But unluckily for Tyrant, I noticed the puddles on the floor which revealed his location, so it was game over from there. GG Tyrant, but you're done. After that we grabbed Chris, headed upstairs to the heliport, sent off the signal rockets, and then it was Tyrant V2 Invisible Boy. No puddles this time to save me though. So I wasn't really sure how I was going to deal with this, but it turns out that if you just leave him alone, he just picks up Barry and refills himself, so, you know. So we used that to our advantage and just shot him a bunch of times in the unmentionables. But he wasn't too happy about that and just sent us across the heliport. So we managed to get the last couple of hits, activated the cutscene for the rocket launcher, thought that's it, war done. But turns out he was already charging at me during the time of the cutscene. Very sad time, so we had to go again, round 2, right? We implemented the same strat by using Barry as bait. And then we got grabbed by Tyrant, but no problem, we just used a taser, gave him a little shock therapy himself, and he put us down. And then Barry showed us his sweet dance moves. Look at that boy go. And then we got the rocket launcher cutscene again, and thankfully this time he was just beating up Barry, so you know, good times for us. We let the rocket launcher go, and no parry today. We got him first try, which was very nice. I didn't want him to parry that, but and then yeah, Brad came along, picked us up. Good stuff, right? And there you have it, we got the Ghost of a Chance achievement, which is to complete the game on invisible enemy mode. 0.61% of Xbox gamers have this achievement. Crazy stuff, but I'm glad I'm one of them. This also unlocked our last costume, which then resulted in another achievement, Passion for Fashion. That's all the costumes. Very nice. We hit that once again button to start our 5th playthrough, which was going to be the speed run and no saving achievements. So we did it on very easy, and we got in there with Jill because, you know, the extra spaces make things a bit easier. Now a little note here, if you're going to do this, you might want to do it as a new game and not once again, because my run had those grenade exploding zombie guys running about. So, you know, you don't want this to happen to you, do you? Sucks, right? sucks even more for me because I was doing a no save run, so I had to start again from the beginning, which sucks. But we quickly caught up. We skipped Yawn to save time on that fight, so there's no sense fighting him when you can grab the mask and go. And I felt that it was quicker just to fight Plant 42 instead of trying to make Joe the whole run on the bout with Geo. I felt like it would take too long, so I fought Plant 42 as I thought that would be quicker. Eventually made it to the Lisa fight. I know I skipped a whole bunch there, but you've seen it all before. So we got to the Lisa fight. We saved Barry again because I was worried about Lisa knocking me off the edge. So the extra help from Barry was kind of useful, especially with the no save run. Last thing I wanted was Lisa slapping me off the edge and ending the run. So then it was laboratory time. We took out Tyrant V1. Unfortunately, we had to fight Tyrant V2 because of the help with Lisa, but that wasn't too bad. We just needed him in the, in the unmentionables again. We got slapped about a bit, but we had plenty of heals, right? Because it's very easy. So, overstocked on heals. We got the rocket launcher, sent the rocket at him. He's dealt with, mansion blows up, and then we got the achievement for Don't Stop Running, finished the game in 3 hours, which was very nice, along with Ink is for Squids. It's a no save run, finished the game without saving, pretty good stuff, but I'll stop you right there. It's not time for celebrating, because the Stars and All achievement requires you to get the rocket launcher, and it turns out that you have to do a speed run of 3 hours on normal mode. Which I did end up doing, but it's annoying that I had to do the run again, which wasn't too bad, but we got the rocket launcher. My achievement didn't pop, so we started a new game, played about with the rocket launcher, and was confused about why that wasn't popping. Eventually, I killed a couple of zombies, and then we went through a door, and the achievement popped, so it's a little bit delayed, but we got there in the end. Before starting my 7th and final run, I went back to an old save, which was my normal mode save, to basically pick up the achievement to visit all locations in the game. This one gave me a bit of confusion because I thought I just had to go to every location, but turns out you have to collect all the items in all locations as well. Luckily, I had a save point before fighting Tyrant version 1, which after that you can't go back, so lucky for me I had that. So make sure you do this achievement before you fight the first Tyrant, because once the self-destruct activates, then there's no going back. So it's pretty simple, just run around, make sure all the areas, all the rooms are green, so there's 100% item completion in each room, and then you're good to go. There's a couple places that had me confused. The first place that had me confused was in the caverns, just after you run past Lisa and you get to that room where you push the box onto the lift. In this room there's a stack of boxes that you can actually climb, and on top there's a stockpile of items, so make sure you climb those, grab those items, because that was that had me confused for a little bit. The second thing I missed is in the laboratory. When you get to the room where you find the laboratory key, there's actually a map on one of the walls along the cabinets and stuff, but it's really hard to see on the camera angle, so just mash the button to pick up items along that wall and you'll eventually get it, as you can see here. And the other thing that I missed was when you save Chris and Jill, so you have to save Chris or Jill when you do this achievement. In the prison cell that they're in, you actually have to step inside that room for it to count, and sometimes, depends on the difficulty, there may be some items in there. There were some shotgun shells for me, so make sure you go in there and pick those up. And if you do all that correctly and everything's looking green and everything's looking good, then when you get up to the helipad and you use the signal rockets, then you'll get the achievement pop there, which is very nice. And then we started a new game using the Samurai Edge pistol to basically line up 2 zombies, get them laying on top of each other to get the 2-in-1 burning achievement. I did pop this zombie's head, but it doesn't actually matter. If you pop their head or not, you can still get the achievement for burning them both, which is nice. I was worried that he wasn't going to burn, but we got it. Break out the marshmallows. Easy stuff. And then it was time for the last playthrough. We did it on easy because I was kind of interested in what color the save file was, so we did it on easy. The save file was green, by the way, in case you're interested. And this run we were aiming for the knife only run, as well as not saving anyone with Chris, so obviously we chose Chris with a nice new outfit, very nice. And yeah, we just kind of ran through the game again, avoided as many zombies as we could because I didn't really want to fight zombies with a knife. I'm just kind of stocked up on heals when we could, just so when we fight these bosses we have plenty of heals to get us through the fights. I'll tell you one thing though, killing the dogs for the armor key was a bit of a task. It was very awkward to knife a dog. I'll tell you that much. But we did get it, so that wasn't a problem. And then we made our way to Yawn to grab our first mask. We just slipped past them like we did in previous playthroughs. And then once we had all 4 masks, it was time to fight the Crimson Head, who was probably the hardest boss on the knife only run, because he was just messing me up. He was like left hooking me, right hooking me, grabbing me. I couldn't get away from him. I had to use a full stack of heals, and even then I died once or twice. But eventually we did put him down. It was a bit lucky, but we started just running around him and just kind of trying to bait his like grabs to then get a cheeky free hit. But yeah, we got there in the end. It's not easy, but this is probably the hardest fight that you're gonna face on a knife only run, I'd say. And when it comes to Plant 42, it is recommended not to save Richard. And the reason for this is that when you get grabbed by Plant 42 as Chris, Rebecca will come along and try to save you. So you'll then take control of Rebecca, who needs to make feed gel. You make feed gel, apply it to the vines or roots and stuff in the basement. And then Plant 42 lets go of Chris, but it's not quite dead yet, because if you remember with Jill, Barry finishes it off with the flamethrower. So as Barry's not here, you gotta deal with it yourself. So he's kind of like at half health because of the feed gel. So you gotta take him out, you gotta attack the vines with your knife, which is really awkward. I finally managed to do it. It took all my heals to do because it is just so awkward to hit these vines, but you can get there, you can do it. And I'd say this is probably the second hardest boss to do with a knife only run. So from here on out, you should be good. So I continued making my way through the game, and eventually we got to round 2 with Yawn, which was very easy. I was surprised how easy this fight was. I was a little bit concerned. But turns out if you just stay behind him, he doesn't know what to do, and you just stab his little tail. So, you know, just keep doing that, and eventually he'll headbutt the bookshelf and you're good to go. We left the mansion and headed off to the caverns to deal with Black Tiger, so we just cut away the door. He helped us out and kind of just left us to it. He just helped us out and just stood there and watched us escape, so that was nice of him. And then from here on out, it was pretty smooth sailing, just run around, do all the kind of like main quest points and all that kind of stuff. Dealt with Lisa, she was pretty easy, you didn't really need a knife to fight her, so that's all good. And then we made it to the laboratory, ran around all that kind of stuff, faced up against Tyrant, who I was a bit worried about, but turns out he's an idiot. Just run behind him, stab his butt, run behind him, stab his butt, and he goes down. It's pretty dumb, not gonna lie. Like, why do I ever use a magnum? Just get a knife on and stab him. And then due to not saving anyone, that was pretty much it. We grabbed the laboratory key, went upstairs, unlocked the door, went up to the helipad, set off the signal flares. Brad came down to pick us up because there was no Tyrant V2, which then popped the achievement for not saving anyone using Chris. And then all that was left was to wait for the last achievement to pop, and there it is. Finish the game only using the knife. Very good stuff, and that is 100% completion on Resident Evil 1 HD Remastered. It's been a very fun journey. I've played this game before, but I've never attempted Real Survivor, Invisible Enemy modes, and all these kind of fun achievements. So it's been very fun to do. I hope you've enjoyed seeing me get there 100%, and why not give it a go yourself, because it's good fun. And if you did enjoy this video and you made it to the end, why not hit the like button? It helps out a whole bunch. And comment down below, tell me about your experience completing Resident Evil 1 HD Remastered, or any achievements that you found really difficult. I'd love to hear it. And yeah, if you want to see more 100% completions, then subscribe, because I'm working on a few more, so they'll be coming soon. But yeah, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Nice one.